For me, I don't see myself as a celebrity. I just see myself as like your friend on social media that you really don't have a personal relationship with. But when you see me in the market, you know, you're like, Jay, right? That video you made my girlfriend say this and that. You know, that is the point of doing what I do for me. And I think that is why I'm energized every day to churn out content after content after content.
Because I know a bit about you personally from people I know who know you. And I think it's also a reflection of your personality. I've never met a single person who knows you who has something bad to say about you.
Wow.
I think it's annoying.
I know. I know. And the truth is that I think that the people that you know that know me, a lot of them knew me from, say, like 5, 6 years or 7 years ago. Me, before that time, I wasn't the best person. I think if you ask people before that period, they would say I was I was not a great person. And I personally knew that I was.
What does that mean?
I was proud, I was rude, I had anger issues. I consciously had to work on myself. Entering into university, you know, I just felt like everybody was beneath me, you know. Yeah, because of how I grew up as, cute, teacher's pet, smart in class, neat guy, And so when you are a child and you grew up in that bubble, and then I'm not even trying to come from, we're disciplined at home, so my rudeness did not enter the house, right?
It's just outside.
It was just outside, but my mom would always tell, you are handsome, you're perfect, you're this. So there was nothing anybody could tell me. While that is great for children, it can make children feel like, who are you? I'm the best person here. You know, and so I think until I got into university, I realized that there were so many bad things about me. You know, I did not handle friendships properly. I did not handle feelings properly. I don't handle people properly. So it took a lot of work. I remember that it was me, because therapy wasn't a thing, you know, for me at the time. I didn't really hear people talk about therapy. But for me, it was just watching a lot of Joyce Meyer. Joyce Meyer is an American preacher. And I could just relate to her struggles. I could relate to a lot of the things that she had been through. You know, not necessarily there's some parts, if you know her, there are things she went through. I don't talk about that part, you know, but there are other parts, you know, that I could just relate to. And watching people like her, like Pastor Sam Adeyemi, Pastor Pojemade, those people were like my therapist. You know, we're not in the same place, but they were my therapist.
Speaking to the issues.
Exactly, speaking to the issues. I was reading their books, I was listening to their messages. And that just made me become a better person. And so when people had met me after that, they feel like I'm the best person in the world. But
did something make you do the switch? Was there a particular incident? Did something cause the realization? What?
I wouldn't say something caused you. I think just realizing that. I think I remember an evening I sat back. And then I just thought about friendships that were no longer in my life. And I realized that, you know, there were people that could have still been in my life, but were no longer there because of how I treated them. You know? Because of how I treated them. Because, you know, sometimes people say, I'm so lonely. Are you lonely because you're pushing people away? Are you lonely because you were mean to people? If you were mean to people and you didn't treat people well, you realize that there's so much people can take. And they're going to take a step back. You know? And I realized that a lot of people, you know, took step back. And people that were around me were just yes men and yes women. People that, maybe because of positions I held in university, were just there. They did not care for me. They did not love me for who I was. And because who was I? You know, I was just a mean, wicked, proud person. You know, I was somebody that loved to just be noticed and all of that. Which is wild to me because people see me on social media. But the truth is that I really don't like to be noticed. Which wasn't me many years ago. So you could see me in places, and because I'm short, it's exciting for me because I could enter a space where, and I'm just like hiding somewhere. But people always fire. Is that not Jay-Onair? But that wasn't the Jay before. You know, would want to be noticed. I just lived for it. You know, so I just thinking about my past and realizing that a lot of people had left my life because of how I treated them. I had to sit up and do better for the people that I wanted to be in my life and for the kind of investments that they were making in my life. I cannot live with myself, you know, if I treat people, you know, terribly.
Very close to your mom.
Oh, very close to my mom. Very, very close to my mom.
Have you always been close to her?
No, growing up I wasn't. It was because we're very similar. So when you're very similar like that,
opposites,
you're
like terms.
Exactly, we were always fighting. So it was a lot of struggle for both of us growing up. I think that as I grew older, you know, the relationship became better. You know, it was something that we both, you know, worked on. And because like I said, I also did a lot of work on myself.
Yourself, yes.
I realized that I had to do some work with my mom. I had to do some work with my brother as well, because my brother and I had a very strained relationship. So it was a personal thing where I realized that, as much as you're doing for friendships outside, you need to work on the family aspect. That's very important. And so we both worked on it. I won't take all the glory for that. We both worked on it, and we are where we are right now. And I just go back. I remember when. I just remember that my mom was such a disciplinarian, but one thing I always appreciated her for is that she never compared me to people. People that seemed smarter than me, never compared. When I wanted to move from doing the sciences, medical sciences, I mean, your child wants to become a doctor. That is the joy. My child is a doctor. My child is a lawyer. You understand? Even if he's, let me not say what I would say. But, I remember saying I want to change from that to read mass communication. After my sister read mass communication.
Right.
And at the time, people just said, mass communication is not a professional course. But my parents stood by me. They did not question it. They were like, if this is what you want to do. Even though my dad was like, by the strength of God, you can do all things, to try to say, maybe you can still do that, man. Are you afraid? But they just were there. So remembering the moments where they were there for me made me realize that I also have to be there for them. And they are good people. Good people also have bad moments. Good people don't always have good moments. Good people always have bad moments as well. Yeah. Because we're human beings. We're not angels walking the earth.
Of course.
And even if you read the Bible, angels walking the earth, we know what they did. So at the end of the day, I worked on that relationship, and we're where we are right now.
The story is that this whole thing came out of essentially depression.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wait, so you were working on radio before.
Yeah.
And then you lost your job.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, I didn't quite lose my job,
Okay.
but I left Benin. So I was serving in Benin. I was retained there, working at a radio station, becoming a superstar there. But I knew that I wanted to be back to Lagos because we have people like Tools and Gbemi, and these are people I listen to. I'm like, I want to be here with you. I want to roll with the big boys and big girls and all of that.
Yeah.
But it didn't big anything. When I came back, because in my mind, I felt like, I'm just going to leave this job. I'm great. Once I come to Lagos, 2 seconds, they were employing me. I sent my CV to every radio station. Yeah. Every radio station, nothing happened. Yeah. I found a way to work with, online radio station. Didn't quite pan out like I wanted. That's how I got into the corporate world. Worked as an executive assistant, worked as a communication executive, was owed salaries a lot, was treated like, like I wasn't worth anything, So all of that just crippled me, and then eventually I left the job. And I started a business. And COVID-19 hit. I'm like, oh my God, the business just, because it's buying clothes.
Yes.
I was selling Okrika, by the way.
Right.
And it was becoming a thriving business. I was becoming the shorts guy. People would come to me to buy shorts, And who was
so after all the things of trying, this one was actually starting to work.
It was starting to work. I remember, I'm a big fan of Waje.
Right.
And I remember she was having a concert at the time. And the ticket cost was 10,000 naira, and I could afford it.
Right.
It was such a
big
deal
deal for you.
And I remember my mom telling me, are you sure you want to use this money to attend? I'm like, I want to attend this concert. It was such a big deal to me. And it just felt, I remember that moment because it felt like things were coming together for me because of 10,000 naira.
Yeah.
And after spending 10,000 naira, it was like 5K remaining. Yeah. But things were picking up. And then COVID-19 hit. Yeah. And everything just became silent. I was home, I didn't have a job, nothing was working for me. And then people were on TikTok and I was just like, what is happening here? And that is how I, got on TikTok lip syncing sounds just to have fun and just to while away time. And I think that's why I love creating so much, because when I was depressed, when I was sad, I wake up in the morning, have my bath, have my shower, I'll be on TikTok. How many sounds can I create in 1 hour? How quickly can I lip sync sounds? That was a thing for me, and it became a thing. And I started creating original content, and I'm being interviewed by Chude.
Here we are. So you were still dealing with this depression when you started doing this thing.
Yes.
So it kind of helped you come out of it.
Yes, it did.
And then became a thing on its own. Was the plan for it to help you deal with this, at least something for you to just do, to spend time? Yeah. Or was the plan at that time that this was going to be a thing you were going to do for work?
It was never a thing, because I was going to stop, because when I became somewhat popular, the radio station that I still work with reached out to me. Somebody there just said, oh, do you still do radio?
Right.
Based on the fact that a video went viral or was trending.
So it's based on that at the radio station you work with.
Yeah, so somebody reached out. Oh, Jay, what's up? I remember you used to do radio. I'm like, I do it too.
I do it.
I do it. You understand? And I got the job.
Yeah.
And I just felt like after I have this job, I wouldn't continue. But because I started it and I just found so much joy
in it, yeah.
I just continued it.
Yeah.
Not thinking about money, not thinking about likes or whatever. It wasn't anything for me. That's why till today, I'm not fazed by money. I'm not fazed by because I remember why I started. It wasn't like this is my career path. I want to be a content creator. It wasn't in the mix for me.
Yeah.
I wanted to work on radio. In fact, from radio, I wanted to transition to TV. I wanted to host events. I'm getting the opportunity to do those things now. But I'm grateful because social media, creating content on social media has brought me these things. I'm doing things that if you had told me years ago I'll be doing, I would have been like, yeah, maybe not. When I was sad and depressed, maybe not. But I'm doing those things now. But I'm grateful because the stepping stone to doing those things, social media.
Yeah.
One message I constantly preach is don't lose the essence of yourself.
Yes.
Because we have so many fantastic male hosts. I don't have the thickest male voice. I'm not a typical host in Nigeria or generally worldwide, you think about someone that is taller, has a voice, has a certain courage.
True.
I don't have all of that.
Yeah.
I'm different. And I think that is what sells me because there will always be brands.
Yeah.
Because sometimes for me, when people see me, until we enter meetings and we're having conversations, they're like, oh, I went to school. What do you mean by that? You understand? I don't
just show up
I
here.
don't, exactly.
Yes.
If for somebody to recreate as many characters as I create, that person has to be smart. I remember, coming out online to say something about, how I have felt very insecure about certain parts of my body.
Right.
Right. And a lot of people could relate to that. Because in my mind, I only thought that when I recreate characters or when I'm funny, that's how things can go viral. But I realized that today, whether I'm sharing a milestone, like, oh, I'm moving to a bigger apartment, people are excited for that. I remember somebody saying, I remember when Jay moved from his mom's house to his first apartment, now he's moving to a bigger apartment. This is so wild to me.
Right.
People are
following the story.
journey. And you're also you are not neglecting the fact that they follow the story. You're also involved. I think I was always insecure about my height.
Right.
Because and that is why I made sure that all my friends were taller than me. If you were shorter than me,
I
don't need you in this.
You've already done that part.
I don't need you in this gang. You need to excuse me right now. And so I was conscious to have taller people around me. As creators, we're constantly giving out. We're training, and it's important that you build yourself. It's important that you're eating. It's important that you're eating. If you are constantly feeding people and not eating, it's going to be a problem. That's why you see so many successful people sad, depressed in so many places. You're
That's
like,
so powerful.
And people feel like, this person is rich now. How can they be sad? How can this person jump from this? You have to do the work. Money is not going to cover loopholes.
It cannot.
It cannot.
Yeah.
Relationships are not going to cover loopholes. Marriage, all those things are not going to. I remember wanting to date someone at some point in my life. I remember God speaking to me and saying that this person will take glory for the hard work you've been putting on yourself. You shouldn't be with this person. You shouldn't, because you want to work on yourself. When you're coming together with somebody, it's not half and half becoming one. It makes no sense for one and one to become one, but you have to be one and one. If it's half and half,
it's not
it's really going to be a problem.
Right.
And because sometimes on social media, there's select few.
Yeah.
But for radio, you still have people in rural areas listening to that.
Yes.
So the mummies that use the small phones, the people that cannot afford the Androids or the iOSs, they listen. So I'm connecting with people on another level. So the joy that gives me, at the end of everything, I'm angry before I on the mic shout because I've had a busy day. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I've had such a great day because I connected to people. Because I remember God telling me sometime that the Bible is my love letter to you. So when I preach, or when I would preach at the time, I want you to live in the place knowing that it is somebody that loves you that spoke to you. When we say it's the gospel is good news. And the gospel should always be good news. And that was important for me. For you. So if it's not good news, it's not the gospel.
I always say that the Bible says my yoke is easy and my burden is light. If the yoke isn't easy, if the burden isn't light, it's not God.
It's not.
Yeah.
I know some people will watch this and say, but this is I'm going through. The truth is that as you evolve and you go in your relationship, your Christian relationship, as you just become a better person, you realize that those struggles have formed you.
Yeah.
The reason people can listen to me is because of the struggle.
They can see that you've gone
They
through
can
it.
see that Jay, and the amazing part is that you can literally see my journey on social media.
I want to make a personal request to you. Many of you watch, like, comment, but you don't subscribe. Now, subscription matters as you subscribe and as you engage. So I am making a personal request. Don't just watch and leave. Please click the subscribe button. It matters to me.